Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express, the important news and editorial that would be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 22nd of July, the first important news, that is Inter-Services Organization Bill 2023, which was recommended by the Parliamentary Standing Committee. We'll see the detail and how this particular bill will help for the part of trial services. Second, that is portal to report violation of ban on e-cigarette. The union government has recently made some strict rules with regards to the sale and operations of e-cigarette. Now final details and a portal has been released. Third, that is India Sri Lanka unveil vision for deeper economic ties. We have seen that Sri Lanka is recovering from the worst economic crisis, and this is the time India, as a part of proactive measures and the immediate neighbor part, will be looking forward to deepen the part of economic ties. Second last, that is CBSE allows Indian language as a medium for instructions. And the last is an editorial and internet ban will not restore peace in Manipur. We have seen that Manipur is witnessing the worst ethnic crisis over there. The clashes is ongoing between the two communities, that is Meiteis and Kukis. So this has continued for more than close to 80 days, and some situation there is not good, right? But whether the part of the internet ban is justified and the part of the constitutional right, we'll understand that in detail. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further ado, let's get started. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do hit that like button. Starting the session, the first news, that is the Inter-Services Organization Command, Control and Discipline Bill 2023, which was recently approved by the House panel. Something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is the Parliament and State Legislature, structure, functions, conduct of businesses, power and privileges and issues arising from it, right? So this particular news is directly important for both prelims as well as for the mains examination, and specifically for the student who are appearing for CAPF examination. There it is more relevant. In CAPF, you can get an essay, or even you can utilize the folder point in your essay as well. So the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Defense has given a go-ahead to a bill that seeks to empower the Commander-in-Chief and Officer-in-Command of the Inter-Services Organization, which is better known as ISO, will have all disciplinary and administrative power with regards to the personnel serving in or attached to such organization. So the bill specifically called for empowering the two positions. The first is the Commander-in-Chief. This is the first position. And the other is inter-service, the part of the officer in command. So these two positions will be more empowered. Now, the bill aims to promote the tri-services integrations and improve the functions of the inter-services organization, right? And it is a part of ongoing federations to drive and optimize the part of military resources for the future wars, right? So this will call for more robust functioning, definite power sharing, and even interesting the office that they should take some decision when it comes to the part of implementing it, and even specifically for the inter-services organization. Now moving ahead with the other part, that is the observation that was made by the part of the Standing Committee. So the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Defense have cited the reasons for giving assent to this bill, and some of the reasons that were cited is again important for your mains. If you're writing directly in mains examination, you can write down the rationale that why the Parliamentary Standing Committee has recommended for it. So the first, they said that the maintenance of effective discipline and efficacy in the inter-services establishment by the head of the inter-services organization. Second, call for abolition of the system or reverting the personnel under disciplinary proceedings to their parent services unit. And third is expeditious disposal of the cases and the misdemeanor or indiscipline cases that has been reported. And last but not the least is the saving of the government expenses and time by avoiding the multiple proceeding which goes through tribunal and various other aspects, right? So this was the observation that was made by the Parliamentary Standing Committee on the Defense part. Now, present structures की अगर बात करें how things actually function. So if you see presently the personnel of Army, Navy and Air Force, इनको कुछ accordance कुछ rules हैं जिनके हिसाब से इनको regulate की जाती है. So these include the part of Services Act for the part of the Army 1950, Navy के लिए 1957 and Air Force 1950. So these are the specific Services Act upon which the three forces are actually operational, right? When these acts are enacted, most of the services organization largely comprises part of the single services, right? However, जो present context की अगर बात करें, the inter services organization exist in Andaman and Nicobar. उसके अलावा जो strategic force command है, defense space agencies, these are the establishment where things work, and even the training centers like National Defense Academy, National Defense College, where personnel of the armed forces and other forces serve together. Hence, the personnel serving in the organizations need to revert them to the parent serving unit undergoing any disciplinary or administrative actions. Now, if you want to read some more about the part how the empowering of the joint command will take, so what the laws seeks to do, it seeks to empower the inter-services organization, just to correct it. This is ISO, inter-services organizations, to act against the personnel from any of the three services. What is currently happening that officers of the services lack authority to exercise the disciplinary and administrative power which has been vested with the new rules and regulation. Now, why this move? Because government say that it will says that the lack of power has a direct impact in the command, control and discipline, and it believes that the law will help this spread of the dispose of the cases, save time, help better integration between the armed forces. So very important, if you're writing specifically in the mains examination, make sure you highlight all this point. Moving ahead with other news, that is portal to report a violation of ban on e-cigarettes, something important for general studies paper 2. That is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementations. So the center has asked through its report, and basically this is the part where central government has come up with more strict rule when it comes to the e-cigarette. So center has asked the state government to report on its portal with regards to the information, and what are the information that need to be updated is the availability of e-cigarette which is sold online with the online sites or the offline site or any retail segment which is there since 2019. So government is making the collection of data since 2019, and the state government has to mandatorily report it, update it on the central government portal. So government has actually come up with the rule. The rule is the prohibition of electronic cigarette productions, manufacturing, import, export, transport, sale, distributions, Storage and Advertisement Act. This is known as PICA Act, which come into force in 2019, right? Why it was there? That government wanted to ban the part of e-cigarettes. Now in February, the ministry has written letter to all states and union territories to ensure the effective compliances of the ban on e-cigarette, और जहाँ पे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने एक कंसर्न रेज की थी कि जितने भी डिवाइसेस सेल हो रहे हैं या फिर वो ऑनलाइन हो या लोकल वेंडर्स के थ्रू ऑफलाइन स्टोर पे सेल हो रहे हैं, उनकी रिपोर्टिंग, उनकी डेटाबेस तैयार करने की जरूरत है. दैट हैज टू बी रिपोर्टेड टू द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट पोर्टल. नाउ व्हाट इज द एम behind this initiative? See, the ban on the electronic cigarette was introduced to protect younger generation from the new form of toxic addictions. And even the portal that is there, the name of the portal, the address is violationsreporting.in, which will help the Union Health Ministry to correlate with the part of the information and take swift action that is reported for the violations, right? The center has cautioned all the state government and union territories about the easy availability of the e-cigarette. The center has actually asked the state that they should make a strict law when it comes to the part of e-cigarettes. Now, they call for a surveillance. The central government said that they need to have a surveillance by the state government. The ministry has asked to caution all the state and union territories about the implementations of Prohibition of Cigarette Act, that is PICA Act, leading to the easy availability of cigarette through online retail, convenience stores, stationery shops, and even for the part of basically that is near the educational institution. No, that is the reason the strict part has been implemented by the ministry, because most stationery shop also have started using selling for the e-cigarettes. The states were also directed to review the part of compliances of the PICA and issue necessary instructions for effective implementations of the provision of the Act through special driver and random checking. Now about e-cigarettes, how things are working. So e-cigarettes की अगर बात करें, some brief about e-cigarettes. That was basically device which used batteries or power, and even usually are there in liquid and solid form containing nicotine and various flavors. The heating process create an aerosol that can be inhaled by an individual, और ये जो वेपर है उसके थ्रू निकोटीन रिलीज होती है deep down into the lungs and enter into the bloodstream. It is also same harmful compared to the part of the normal cigarette smoking, which call for smokes which impact other people also, but the intensity and the part of the lethality which is there for the human body remains same. In comparison, the traditional tobacco where physical burning are there, in this case the physical burning is not there. While tobacco smoking produces harmful byproducts such as tar, carbon monoxide, numerous chemical, but e-cigarette primarily deliver nicotine without the combustion process. तो combustion की वजह से बहुत सारी जो harmful gases है उनकी environment में basically spread जो है वो रुकती है. So this is what the part of the e-cigarette. Basically these are imported from China and not manufactured in India. Still some companies are manufacturing, but government के strict rule के बाद no companies will be surviving and even they will shut down their part, right? 16 states and 1 union territories have already banned them. और इंडियन काउंसिल फॉर मेडिकल रिसर्च ने अपने रीसेंट पेपर में रिकमेंड किया था कि कंप्लीट बैन होनी चाहिए सेल फॉर द पार्ट ऑफ द ई सिगरेट, राइट? एंड WHO हैज एक्चुअली अर्ज्ड, WHO ने भी कहा कि इस तरह के ई सिगरेट्स के सेल पे अप्रोप्रिएट एक्शन लेने की जरूरत है. And definitely the part of marketing will suffer, and India, the government don't want that this should be promoted anywhere, and even specifically which is mushrooming around the educational institution, which will impact our youth as well. Now moving ahead, that is India, Sri Lanka unveil visions for deeper economic ties, something important for gender studies paper 2, that is India and its neighborhood relations. So recently, India and Sri Lanka has unveiled new economic partnership, and this partnership goes on various sectors which include the part of maritime, air, energy, and financial connectivity, including the use of unified payment interface, that is UPI. If you look at the part of UPI which is used in India is pretty high compared to any other countries, तो collaborations के बाद जो UPI permissions है वो श्रीलंका जैसे countries में भी होंगी. Both leaders has held the talk with regards to infrastructure project that could ensure greater connectivity between the two countries, right? और Prime Minister of India ने basically श्रीलंका की जो 13th amendment है उसको भी implement करने की बात की in the provincial election which country will be going, right? I think most of you must be aware of the 13th amendment that call for certain reservation. If not, you can check the details further. Now, various agreements or deal की गई है between India and Sri Lanka. So, India has announced the development of assistance package for Tamil, specifically those Tamil who are of Indian origin and residing in Sri Lanka, marking 200th anniversary of the arrival of the Iceland nation. So, this become important for mains examination. You can expect a question in the mains when it comes to the part of India and Sri Lanka relations. Even the timeline is important. The agreement on the digital transitions was signed between the Lanka Pay and ECI International to facilitate the part of Unified Payment Interface, that is UPI, in Sri Lanka. And India will also contribute additionally for the development of program in the northeastern part, north and the eastern part of Sri Lanka. Economic crisis की बात करें, just to give you the background, you must have come across the news and I have made a discussion to that also. That the worst economic crisis was witnessed by Sri Lanka since 2022 and 23. The government subsequently entered into the agreement with various important institutions, the lending institutions like IMF and World Bank, and nearly $3 billion packages were there. And even some countries like Sri Lanka, the part of China has actually helped Sri Lanka, restructuring both the foreign debt. Funding is estimated that 41 billion will be there to 42 respectively, and India has also provided several grant and assistance to Sri Lanka in this regard. Now, moving ahead with other news, that is CBSC allow Indian languages as a medium for instruction, something important for general studies paper 2, that is issues related to development and management of human resources. So CBSE ने recently schools को allow किया है, and even उनको consider करने के लिए कहा है that Indian languages should be there as an optional medium for instruction of the multilingual educational reality. Why CBSE is pitching for this? Because these are the part which is mentioned under the National Education Policy 2020, the Ministry of Education and the National Council for Educational Research, that is NCRT, have taken measures to introduce the part of multiple languages under the new education policy or the national education policy. CBSE has asked the school to use the available resources and collaborate with the other to make the best use of multilingual educations. Now, बात करें education through Indian language, which is again a core essence of the National Education Policy 2022. तो उसमें कुछ important बातों पे highlight की गई. Even for medical education, government is actually implementing the part of languages, the Indian languages. So the initiative was taken to facilitate through the Indian languages, जहाँ पे CBSE ने कुछ important Indian languages को consider करने की बात की है, which is listed in the Schedule 8 of the Indian Constitution. उसे as a medium for instructions use करने की जरूरत है for the secondary and senior secondary school, basically for pre-level till class 12, right? And school may explore the part of available resources, consult with the expert, and even collaborate with the part of best sharing for the multilingual educations. CBSE has further said that this initiative marked the importance for the school to become the foundational of the multilingual educations. कुछ challenges की अगर बात करें इसके implementations में, CBSE ने note किया कि कुछ ऐसे challenges भी होंगे इनकी final implementations में. See, we do not have that equipped part when it comes to the part of implementations. कई ऐसे limitations भी होंगे in implementations of multilingual education and utilizations of mother languages. So this includes the availability of skilled teachers, which is capable of teaching in multilingual subjects. Second will be the creations for high quality multilingual textbook in a limited time frame. And especially two shift government schools में ये सारी चीजें problem अभी भी exist करेंगे. In most when we see by the government school, there's a limitations of the infrastructure. The school को दो shift में चलाई जाती है. The first shift is basically dedicated for girls, and the second shift is basically for boys, right? So this is how the things actually work in the government school. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, that is an internet ban will not restore peace in Manipur, something important for general studies paper 2. That is the schemes, basically various government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So what I'll be discussing under this editorial, first talking about the theme and the focus of this article is about the internet ban in Manipur amid the ethnic violence which is ongoing. We'll see the part of the blanket order which is there for the part of internet ban. Arudhana Basir versus Union of India की केस को देखेंगे. Judicial response and the part of the conclusion will follow at the end of this article. Now, most of you must be aware of the situation which is ongoing in Manipur. This is something devastating and inhuman act is ongoing in the state of Manipur. राइट तो मेन स्ट्रीम डिस्कोर्स में एथनिक डिस्प्यूट को लेकर के काफ़ी सिग्निफिकेंट बातें चल रही हैं. एंड इवन द वॉयलेंस दैट एक्चुअली स्टार्टेड ऑन May 3, 2023, उसके बाद से ही वहाँ पे इंटरनेट बैन कर दी गई है. एंड द कर्व हैज़ बिन लिफ्टेड करेंटली 20th जुलाई रिसेंटली कर्व की गई है, और उस बेसिकली कर्व को हटाने के बाद लिमिटेड इंटरनेट एक्सेस दी गई है लोगों को, एंड इवन विद सम रेस्ट्रिक्शंस. उसके बाद एक वीडियो क्लिप वायरल हुई थी विद सेक्सुअल वायलेंस विद द वुमेन ऑफ different communities, and that has raised several debate in parliament in the ongoing monsoon session that the government has not taken the proper stand, and even the government, which is ruled by the ruling party at the center, has not taken the proper action. This is what the opposition has said in their statement, right? So but to a larger extent, we as a citizen can see that yes, the situation in Manipur is not at controllable by the state authorities, and even the police has failed to control the situation, right? The things are worst in reality, which has not been reported even to a larger extent by the media houses. But no, we are not getting into the debate for that political angle. In this article, I'll make you understand कि किस तरह से एक humanity को impact की जा रही है. With the order of the Honorable High Court of the Manipur, the thing has taken a devastating toll. Now, blanket order with no supportive data, basically Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, जिसे TRAI भी कहते हैं, they have come up with that Manipur जो internet access है, that will be restricted with the smartphone, wired internet that constitute the institutional commercialization and high economic groups. तो इंटरनेट बैंड की बात की गई था. टोटल ऑफ 0.5 मिलियन वायर कनेक्शंस है, 2.6 वायरलेस मिलियन यूजर्स एंड 2.2 connected through internet on the part of their mobile phone. Internet shut in Manipur was first enforced in May 3rd. That called for a case of blanket prohibition, that means complete prohibitions. The state is affected, and not in the case with the total 16 districts being affected, where the web traffic and medium of connecting were completely abrogated by the governments. Now, internet shutdown की अगर briefly बात करें 2022 में, this is something that fact you must know. Important specifically for the prelims and mains examination. Mains में आप कई ऐसे parts हैं जो use कर पाएंगे. If you look at the part, internet shutdown different parts of countries में रही since 2016 till 2022. We have seen the toll even for 2019. अगर इंडिया की बात करें, इंडिया हैज़ अ हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ इंटरनेट बैन, लाइक 84 डेज, यूक्रेन में 22, ईरान 18, म्यांमार 7, बांग्लादेश 6, जॉर्डन 4, लीबिया, सूडान एंड तुर्कमेनिस्तान. ये कुछ ऐसे कंट्रीज हैं, एंड इन द राइट हैंड साइड यू कैन सी दीज कंट्री विच आर देयर विद द इंटरनेट बैन. सो इंडिया हैज़ बिकम अ कंट्री which has imposed internet ban for the highest days. And even Jammu Kashmir की अगर बात करें, I'll come to that case also, we'll make the discussion there, right? Now, Anuradha Basheen versus Union of India के केस की अगर बात करें, so the Supreme Court failed to adjudicate the part of internet shutdown order also, and this was a case which was even call for the right to privacy. Supreme Court ने cognizance भी ली, but जिस तरह से adjudications होनी चाहिए थी उस proper level पे नहीं हो पाए. Even by itself, it's not resulted in the restoration for the excess. State or competent authority ने review किया suspension of the order, but the things that desired basically which call for favoring the citizen and even the citizen right was not adequately addressed, right? So the directions for transparency, which has not been implemented yet in the free, and recent joint report by the Human Rights Watch and Internet Freedom Foundation has said that India has become the country which has imposed the internet ban for the among the world जिसने सबसे ज़्यादा internet ban किया for the longest number of days, that is 84. जुडिशियल रिस्पॉन्स की अगर बात करें, हाई कोर्ट मणिपुर ने जुलाई 7 को डायरेक्ट किया था होम डिपार्टमेंट को कि इंटरनेट जो प्रोविजंस हैं, खास करके कुछ इंटरनेट एक्सेस, वो लिमिटेड एक्सेस दी जा सकती है. एंड इवन देयर वाज नो क्लियर डेफिनेशन व्हेन इट कम्स टू द पार्ट ऑफ सोशल मीडिया continuing the prohibitions to the smartphone. So there was no direction in particular given to that. In that effect, ban on the internet service continue to the part of Manipur with limited area access and limited services. In response to that, Supreme Court has become one of the judicial avoidance. क्योंकि जब बात करें जम्मू एंड कश्मीर के इश्यूज में भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन ले लिए थे. द टॉप कोर्ट हैज़ एन अपॉर्चुनिटी and even twice to adjudicate the petitioner that is challenged over the internet shutdown. The state government itself appealed the order of the High Court for the past restorations. Now, if you look at the part of the rules which is mentioned, the constitutional right and some provision in the constitution, the Supreme Court की ruling को अगर देखिए, this is with specifically regard to Jammu and Kashmir, आप उससे relate कर सकते हैं. Right to freedom of speech and expression are there in the constitution, and any order that authorities spend on internet subject to judicial review, section 144 cannot be used to suppress the part of legitimate expressions, right? तो ये सारी बातें हैं. कश्मीर के कंसर्न में आर्टिकल 370 जब एब्रोगेट हुई थी उस समय काफ़ी बातें यहाँ पे आई. यू कैन रीड this, you can take this screenshot and make the part of the revision purposes also. Now conclusions की अगर बात करें, in the form of the necessary action that is required to ensure that accountability is there, state और central government को एक ऐसी steps लेने की ज़रूरत है which call for ensuring the truth, justice and reconciliation. And even if this is not there, Supreme Court and even the Honorable Court can play a proactive role in ensuring that the citizen rights are not being impacted. The freedom of speech and expressions and even the freedom for trade and commerce through the medium of internet are constitutionally protected under Article 19(1) and Article 19(1)(g, right? ये सारी rights है क्योंकि कई ऐसी trade activities हैं जो internet के through ही possible हो पाती है. Now there is an absence of data of specific instances for violence being prevented due to jamming of the internet connectivity. So in a democratic setup and in the social fabric where we are residing, we call that India as a country which has a unique diversity. So इस diversity को preserve करने के लिए जो constitutional rights हैं उसकी priority भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा important हो. Moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is B. For second question, the correct option is C. Today's MCQ for practice, gamma ray burst के बारे में आपको बताना है. These are the powerful astronomical bursts of high energy gamma rays. These emit more than our sun emit in the lifetime. The second question of the day, that is the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. It's a specialized agency of the UN that assists economic and industrial development at headquarters at UN office in Washington, USA. So check out for the correct option. We have a lot more other platform where you can practice the MCQ based questions. Check out our platform, you'll get that. And this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other queries, questions about admissions, test series, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching.